Today, I want to talk to you about why it takes so long to pay off your credit card debt if you just pay the minimum. And I'm going to tell you the two things you need to do in order to attack that and pay off your credit card debt much faster. In order to do this, what I want to do is tell you about Dina. Dina has a $10,000 credit card balance. And that means that her monthly payment this month is $383. To understand what's going on, we really need to understand why that's the minimum payment. What is it about $383 that makes that the minimum payment for a credit card? Well, there are two components that make up that minimum payment. The first one is interest. Interest, in this case, Dina's credit card annual interest is 22%. Now, 22% is the annual interest. But credit cards charge interest on a daily basis, which means that what we need to do is take that 22% and divide it by 365 to get the daily rate. That gives us a 0.00603. So we multiply that number by whatever balance Dina has at any given day, and that's the interest she'll be charged for that day. So in this case, if we look at the $10,000, multiply it by the 0.000603, and then multiply that by the 30 days of this month, that her interest expense is $183. So of the $383, which is her payment, $183 of it is just paying the interest on the debt that she has with the credit card. Now, the second component to this is the principal payment. Every credit card payment will make some payment to principal, but it's not going to be a lot. In fact, most credit cards only require a 1% principal paydown on every payment. In this case, Dina has a 2%. So what we're talking about here is 1 to 3% is common for a required minimum payment to your credit card. And so in this case, Dina's is 2%, and 2% times $10,000 is $200. So you can see that the $383 is $183 in interest and $200 in principal. So what does that mean? That means that in month one, when she pays $383, $200 of that will be paying actually down the debt. In month two, what is her principal amount that she owes total? Well, it's $10,000 minus the $200, which means that it's $9,800. In this case, remember, it's the interest, which is this daily rate, times what is outstanding now, which means that her interest in this case is 9,800 times 0.0000603 times the 30 days of the month. So now her interest expense is $180. So it's $3 less than last month because she's $200 less in debt. The principal payment is not 2% of the original amount. It's 2% of what is outstanding right now, which means that it's $196, or 2% times $9,800. And so what you can see is her minimum due payment this month is now $376. Yes, her minimum payment dropped by $7 month over month, but her principal has only dropped by $200. And if we do this another month, right, we can do this, we can continue to do this. But what that means is that now she's not $200 less than she was before. She's only $196 less in terms of principal, which means that now she owes $9,604. And if we do the same math, what we find is her payment is $368. Once again, in this case, $8 cheaper than last month. But It's because her interest is $176 and her principal is $192. So what you can see is this drop, $4, $4. This isn't going very fast. And in fact, it doesn't. If we were to graph this out, this is kind of what it would look like. Let's say this is the principal payment that you make, not the interest in principal, just the principal on every month. And this is the months over time. What you find is that the graph looks like this. And this mathematically would go on forever. You'd be in debt forever because 2% of even $10 is a minimum payment of very small. But what actually happens is the credit card companies don't like to have minimum payments of $5. It's not worth their trouble. It costs them more to process that payment, so they have a minimum. So way out here at the end, what ends up happening is that more of your payment is going to principal because in this case, Dina's minimum payment is $30. Some of them are like $25, but in Dina's case, it's $30, which means that if the principal payment of 2%, it makes that payment less than $30, they just automatically require her to pay $30, which means that it goes up until it's all of a sudden paid off. Now, the really disturbing thing is this whole scale is going to take you years, right? It could take 13 plus years at a 2% pay down, or as many as 23 years if your pay down is 1%. The two things you have to attack is this interest rate and this pay down. So you have to either drop your interest rate so that more of your payment is going towards the principal, and you can make that money go further so that you're paying less money in interest and more money into the principal. And you have to make sure that you're making more than the minimum principal pay down. If all you're ever doing is paying your minimum payment at the exact same interest rate that you're always going to do it, it's going to take you 13 or 23 years to get out of credit card debt. One of the most effective ways to attack both the interest rate and the principal pay down is like an installment loan or a debt consolidation loan. Why? Because a good debt consolidation loan will give you a rate better. Now, I wouldn't do debt consolidation unless you can get a better rate than, say, 2 or 3 percentage points better than what you're getting from your credit card. Because with all the fees and often there's an origination fee and whatnot, it may not be worth the trouble. The other thing that a debt consolidation loan does is it no longer has this minimum. The variable payment doesn't exist. It's a flat payment every single month, which means that you're putting a lot more towards principal very quickly. So the most important thing you can do is figure out how to increase your contribution to your principal payment. And the faster you can do that early in the life of the loan, the faster you're going to pay off. Now, debt consolidation may not be effective for you, but if you're looking for a way to make sure to see whether you can get a better rate and a payment that you can afford that accelerates your debt payoff, you can go to the Yukon Project. Our marketplace website is fantastic. What you can do is pick one of our premium lenders, apply for a debt consolidation loan with them, and we will check your rate with up to 40 lenders on the back side, and it won't affect your credit score. You can pick the one you want, or don't pick one if it doesn't make sense to you. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video and you found it useful, please like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.